Good afternoon, good evening, Fabulous 321, and we're live with another edition of Notes on the Newsfeed, where I share with you headlines from my newsfeed, and because we all need to kind of stay a little bit in touch with what's going on in the world. So it's just headlines. I don't claim to be an advanced researcher. It's not news. It's just my notes on the news. And in addition to the headlines, I may share with you some thoughts that I have on the subject matter at large, some thoughts that I have on the article if I've read or skimmed the article, or some thoughts that I have on the headline. But what did I just say? It's not news. It's just my notes on the news. So let us proceed after letting you know that we're working on 1,000. We're working on 1,000. We're working on 1,000 subscribers. This is, somebody asked me if this was my artwork. No, this is not my artwork. I guess I was shaking and shimmying too much. Okay. I'm going to try not to shake and shimmy. But if you're not a subscriber, you know, it's hard for me not to shake and shimmy, you know. But if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. And if you are, thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome back. Welcome. Let us proceed with the notes on the newsfeed. Scientific racism. Fictitious diseases that the medical community used to keep blacks enslaved. I don't know. I've heard, is it drapetomania? Is drapetomania? Is that how you pronounce it? I think that disease, it was a mental illness that some people claim that black folks had, and it was like a desire to run away and be free. What was I can't remember what it was, but it was basically, you know, well, you're crazy because you don't want to be enslaved. I don't really know. I mean, I feel like if somebody is holding you captive, do they have to come up with a scientific reason to do that? I guess that's like politics and like, you know, culture and society and like, you know, the reason why the enslavement of Africans in this country was so like above board and just like, you know, straight up and not hidden in public knowledge is because I guess they had a whole theory behind why, you know, it was a good thing to enslave Africans. So that even people who personally didn't have enslaved Africans were like, yeah, keep those Negroes under lock and key or whatever, you know. And I guess in other places where, you know, people like, you know, your next door neighbor could have somebody enslaved, but they keep it on the DL, like, you know, in Room, or, you know, if y'all saw the movie, but, you know, it's people like that in real life, like them people who had their children chained up, they were enslaved, or, you know, yeah, they were, you know. So, but they do it on the down low. It's not like public, like, oh yeah, we keep our children, we don't feed them and we keep them chained up because, you know, that's what you're supposed to do with children. People would be like, oh my gosh. So I guess maybe, you know, there's this whole scientific justification, but people do what they gonna do. Some people, if they crazy, they do crazy stuff. Mason City School District in Ohio has a race problem. Oh, just Mason City School District? Just that one school district in Ohio? Oh, just the school district has a race problem, not the whole country or the whole world. Okay. Winter Olympics. South Koreans protest against propaganda. Disney World just quietly raised ticket prices to up to $129 for a single day, and people are freaking out. How much does it cost? What did they raise it from? $129. I've never been to Disney World, Disneyland. I think the last time I went to an amusement park, it was like $50 or $60 a day, and I thought that was a lot. But I guess if you go to a movie, it's like $10 or $20, and that's just for 2 hours. So if you go to an amusement park and you get like 8 hours of amusement, I guess $50. But I don't know. I guess in my head, I just think, you know, I'm like stuck. I'm like, I feel like an amusement park should be like $20. I don't understand. So $129, that sounds like a lot. I wouldn't be freaking out. I just wouldn't. I'm not freaking out. I wouldn't go. But I guess if you're into that, this might like be really upsetting. Are you into it? Do you go to Disneyland, Disney World, all of that? Is it shocking that it's $129 for a single day? Britain threatens to pull Oxfam funding if all documents related to sexual misconduct in Haiti isn't released. We've been talking about this. Has been in the news for 3 days now. See, the first day they were like them dealing with prostitutes, and I can't remember what it was. And now it's like sexual misconduct. See, when you call somebody a prostitute, that like almost puts the responsibility for you having sex with them on them. Like, well, they're a prostitute, so what was I supposed to do? Have sex with them? And now the story is like there was sexual misconduct. Like y'all were out of line. Y'all were taking advantage of people, which is in your pattern and your habit of behavior. Progress has stalled for African Americans since the Civil Rights era. Shoot, I think I saw something that said that, yeah, it might have been since the Civil Rights era, but it was talking about our ownership. Like, we can look at Oprah Winfrey, and we can look at Barack Obama, and we can look at Beyonce and Jay-Z and be like, whoop, whoop. Except that when you look at us as a collective, we have not progressed. We don't have ownership. Like the land that we own has not increased. The business that we own has not increased. The wealth that we've owned has not increased. And I don't know if the statistic I heard was that there hasn't been an increase since the civil rights movement, but I think that we were like virtually the same place as, like during the Reconstruction era, like after we were freed from being officially enslaved. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for the light. So, it's good to celebrate. Yay, there's Black Panther. Yeah, there's Oprah. Yeah, there's Obama's. All of that is good. But at the same time, we have to be cognizant of what policies and what needs to happen for our people collectively to advance. I mean, it's cool. I'm happy that, some people are millionaires, and that's good for them. But it's not going to make my belly full. Now, we were talking about bread and roses earlier on the live. So I guess it gives me some spiritual fulfillment to be like, yay, so people are doing good. But I need some food for my belly too. We all do. All of our people. We got to look at all of that. Okay. 2 people were hospitalized after being stabbed in a New Jersey JCPenney. And the store didn't clean up the blood before letting shoppers return. Yuck. That sounds so crazy to me. Like, I feel like people could slip on blood. Thank you for the light. People could slip on blood. People it could be like a health hazard. I mean, like, and then it's just like, if you wasted water on the floor, don't you clean? Like, I don't understand. But 2 people were hospitalized after being stabbed in a New Jersey JCPenney. And after they, I guess, took them to the hospital, they like, come on in and shop. And there's blood all over the floor. Or I don't know if it was blood just all over the floor. But clean that mess up. What? Not mess. I'm sorry. The people whose blood, that's not mess. That's people's blood. And that's serious that, they had to be hospitalized. Peace to those people and their families and all of that. I'm sorry to hear about that. Olympics officials confirm cyber attack during opening ceremony. We talked about the fact that there was a theory that there was a cyber attack. So it's been confirmed. Russia jet carrying 71 people crashes after Moscow takeoff. So, peace to those people. I don't know if anyone made their transition, but a plane crash, that does not sound like fun. So peace and healing and health. Kavo Syed Imani, Iran environmentalist's death was a suicide, Iran says. And his family says it was absolutely not a suicide. These people, I mean, it's interesting how, oh yeah, Sandra Bland, she committed suicide like all of these people, I guess when it's politically inconvenient, some people commit suicide. So peace to his family and community and everything. Marcus Garvey, the man who led the largest mass movement in Black history. I heard that the other day, and I was just like, I can't believe that. I heard of, the UNIA and Marcus Garvey and, Garveyites and all of that. And I knew it was, the Black Star Line, but I didn't realize it was the largest movement. Like, there were people from all over the world. It was a large movement of Black folks that were involved with Garvey and his movement. And then there's a tradition that lingers on. Like, I know people whose grandparents and parents were Garveyites. Do you know people whose people were Garveyites? It's like a big legacy. And I think we need to know more about it. Now, we do it seems like there's something every year in the museum of the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History here in Detroit relating to Garvey. Like, but I can't remember what it is now. All of a sudden, I'm blanking on it. Alyn Quinn, civil rights activist affectionately called by SNCC workers Mama Quinn. I never heard of her, but we calling out names all the time as much as we can. We need to learn about people. Her name is spelled ALYENEQUIN. Art showing cop aiming gun at black girl moved at high school. This is coming off the Griot. So I don't know. I hit the story, but I couldn't really get any information about it. But I think a black student had done the artwork. Marchers warn against the rise of neo-fascism in Italy as they protest recent shooting of innocent Africans. Y'all heard about the person who had the Italian flag wrapped around him who was going around shooting black folks in Italy? So there's a march going on saying that there's a rise of neo-fascism in Italy. We had to say, I guess that's just going on throughout the world because we had the same thing going on here. Report, Flint sees 75% drop in school reading proficiency in wake of water crisis. So y'all know, I'm not up to date with the whole lead poisoning thing, but the last I heard, when you have lead poisoning, there's not really like a way to get that out of your system, and it definitely affects your mental capacity. There's going to be some deficiencies, the last I heard. So 75% drop in school reading proficiency. And they still I don't think that the situation in Flint has been resolved. I don't think that the pipes have been, I don't think that system has been fixed. Jay-Z gives touching speech at Trayvon Martin Peace Walk in Florida. So, rest in peace, Trayvon Martin. I think it's really interesting that now Trayvon Martin was the first person in this new wave of awareness that I had of people being, he wasn't killed by a cop. He was killed by a civilian, like a wannabe cop, asshole, fool, murderer, coward. But I think that was like right after I had like a consciousness of Trayvon Martin. It seemed like there was like killing after killing after killing after killing. Like it was just constantly like in the news and in my consciousness and on Twitter. And, I don't know if I have tuned out of that stuff because it seemed like it was like every day I was hearing about somebody getting killed. Or if it's less prevalent. But it seems like I saw some numbers the other day, and it seems like the statistics of particularly black folks being killed by cops has not necessarily gone down. So maybe I've just like kind of tuned out of it because it gets a little bit much sometimes. Texas school claims it can't be sued for failing to protect black student from racist bullying. So my understanding of the story is that the child, first of all, the parent was paying $9,000 a year to send their child to the school. And I'm already kind of offended by that. I know that people feel that we have limited options in terms of the education of our children, but I'm really, really, hey, Mary Jane, good topics. Keep up the good work. Be fabulous. You love the pink. Thank you. I feel like I know that we as parents, a lot of times we feel that we have limited options in terms of the education of our children. But one, I'm really upset that the parent was paying $9,000 a year for their child to be harassed. And their child was harassed to the point where the child sounds like they had a breakdown in their own home and they were writing like hate on the wall. And, it seems like they've had some kind of mental breakdown. When the parent took the harassment to the school did not, I think one child got in-school suspension or maybe suspended for one day. And I think the children were disciplined, but I don't think anyone was suspended. And I don't know what the discipline didn't seem to fit what was going on for the child. And the children who were harassing the child were telling the child that, when my father was in the KKK and calling him names and like, it just seemed like it was kind of like intense you know, the bullying and harassment, or at least that child's experience of it is. And it just seemed, and it was a Catholic, I believe it was a Catholic school. We know it was private because she was paying or the parents, I don't know if it was just the mother, was paying $9,000 a year. And the school is like, you know, you can't sue us. She's suing the school, she's suing the students, and the school is like, you can't sue us. But it seemed like their response, it seemed very lackadaisical to me. Like, you know, don't do that anymore, children. They put them into the room and told them not to do it anymore. But I feel like I just can't imagine. That's like, you know, paying somebody to jack your child up. Like, I just feel like, and then I feel like on the extreme end, it was the children harassing him with, you know, my family is in the KKK, we gonna hang you, or whatever they were saying to the child. But then a lot of times stuff is more subtle. It's like you paying for your child to get the message that they're less valuable, less intelligent, less important than other people. You're paying for your child to get the message that, you know, like, it just seems like you're paying for them to get less attention. Like, we need better. And I know, you know, the African school, we had African center schools here in Detroit, and are any of them still here? Now, some of them were 20, 25, 30 years old when they finally, you know, went away. And the charter school movement had an impact on it. But we just need places where our children are loved and supported and affirmed and taught by people who care about them, who look like them, who value them, who see them, who respect them, who have a vision of their potential and their power and their beauty and their wonderfulness, who aren't afraid of them, who So prayers out to that child and the family, and to all of our children in these schools. You know, may we, you know, get the message that we're brilliant and powerful and wonderful, you know. Oh, so when I do Black Lightning, that's one of the things I watched. I rewatched the first. I'm up to date on it, but I rewatched it for notes. But he did something in his public school that I really like. He does something, and I didn't notice it in the first episode, the first time I watched it, but I noticed it later on. But anyway, yeah, because when I would go into the African center schools, and even now at Kwanzaa, you see those kids, and they still have a community, and they're like, you know, they stand up every morning and you know, we are powerful, we're strong, we love Black people, we love ourselves, or whatever. You know, they had some stuff going, and that stuff still stays with them, even though the schools aren't in existence anymore. The communities are still there, and you see these young people out in the world with a consciousness and a sense of self that, you know, Detroit style. I don't know if it's like other places, but these, you know, they seem like Detroit warriors. Asma Jahangir, Pakistan human rights champion, dies. So rest in peace. Anybody who champions the rights of humans, we support that, right? Humans. 5 chilling charts show why Americans in the South live shorter lives. Gui Minhai, Chinese press attacks Sweden over bookseller. So the bookseller is now back in China. He's a Swedish citizenship, I think, a Swedish citizen, and there's a statement where he's like, the Swedish government, blah, 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 but people are like, is that statement for real? Like, was he coerced into making that statement, or is that like his true beliefs? Because he was a citizen of Sweden. So it's like when people make confessions and make statements, like, you know, they had the child who was in North Korea who confessed that he had done a crime or whatever, and, you know, it just don't look right, and you just feel bad about, you know, people being forced to say stuff that's not true, and just being under duress to the point where they feel like they have to lie. Grand Canyon helicopter crash kills 3. Whoa, so rest in peace for those people who made their transition. It was a big company, apparently, who does, you know, tours and stuff. So I'm not sure what happened. We talked about that. The NSA sent coded messages to a shadowy Russian on its official Twitter account. Brazil's British carnival dancer. So we saw the other day, I saw an article, a headline or whatever, that was like, is Brazil's carnival going to continue? And now I see that they have a British person who's like the main carnival dancer or something like that. And I'm like, I don't understand. And she's like, she's never danced before. So I'm like, how is she like the winner of Carnival. Like, I don't, or, how is she dancing in Carnival and being featured? I don't, and why is she British? Why, they don't have no Brazilians. I don't, they trying to whiteify. I don't understand what's going on. I don't know. But it seems like something is going on with Carnival, because we keep hearing about it. Married to Medicine star vents about police response after car accident. Now, I think that this was Toya from Detroit, who has those two little boys. I think something happened, and she had a car accident. The cops went, I think what I read was, because it reminded me of that time when I caught the cops on this other cop who had come to my door. And then when the cops came, the cops went to the cop and said, what's going on? And I'm like, I'm the one who called you. You should take my statement first. And it just seemed like the white men talking to white men. And I think she had, when I heard about her experience, it reminded me of that, because it sounded like when he hit her, she had the accident. And when the cops came, they came and asked him what was going on. She said they never checked to see, they went and asked him, got his statement, and then came over to her and asked if she was all right and if the children were all right. And I think that was Toya. Have y'all heard anything about that? The 11 cities most likely to run out of drinking water, like Cape Town. How U.S. death penalty capital changed its mind. Oh, how the U.S. death penalty capital changed its mind. Was it Texas? Was the death penalty capital? I did skim that article, but now I don't even remember it. Equifax breach may have exposed more data than first thought. So y'all thought that what was exposed was your social security number, your past addresses, which is serious information to be exposed. But they say that they also probably exposed your driver's license, which has your height, your weight, your eye color, all of that kind of hair color. So the people really have an opportunity to really and truly steal your identity. I'm not laughing that I think it's funny. I'm just laughing because I think it's ridiculous. And I'm like not a fan of this whole credit company thing. That's a whole nother conversation. Indonesia bus crash leaves 25 dead in West Java. And they said that most of the people were locals. Like, like here in Detroit, like when we do tours, sometimes we do tours like food tours. And most of the people who come on the food tours are locals, Or we did a tour where we did like unexplored areas in Detroit. Because usually when people get tours, like when they come from out of town, they just downtown. But this tour, we went all over like different neighborhoods in the city and stuff. And those people were locals, like, mostly people from the city who did that tour. And that's how this was. Most of those people were locals. Like, I don't think there were any international people, but 25 people made their transition. So may they rest in peace, and peace for their families and communities and all of that. And peace for all of us too. Lyft riders can add donations to Black Girls Code to their fare. Have I been in a Lyft? Somebody called me. I think it was a Lyft or an Uber once. So it might have been Lyft. I thought it was an Uber, but it might have been a Lyft. Israeli airstrikes against Syria. Israeli airstrikes against Syria, biggest since 1982. Kim Cattrall criticizes cruel Sarah Jessica Parker after her brother's death. Now, Sarah Jessica Parker tweeted out, something like, I'm sorry your brother died, peace for you and your family. And Kim Cattrall is like, you don't have to wish me and my family peace. Leave us alone. Stop harassing us. You're cruel and you're mean. And my mama says, why do you keep harassing me? Or something to that effect. She said they had a mean girl culture on the set and they excluded her, and she is not here for it. Even when her brother died, she like, you don't say nothing to me about, I don't want to hear it. I don't even want to hear your condolences. That's kind of intense. I don't know what happened there. What it's like inside the bitterly cold South Korean city where the Winter Olympics are being held this year. Boko Haram releases 13 hostages to Nigerian government. 2 Ohio police officers were shot and killed responding to a 911 hang-up. I read this yesterday, but I haven't heard anything about it, but I guess I haven't really been paying attention to the news. So rest in peace for those officers who were shot and killed. Were they set up a 911 hang-up? I mean, yeah, I don't know what happened. But, you know, sorry for your family and your community and, you know, all of us. A senior Trump administration rail safety official stepped down after scrutiny over outside work. He needs to be stepping down over scrutiny over all of the Amtrak accidents that have been happening over the last 2 full 6 months. Like, what kind of job are you doing? But he had another job, and so people are like, and maybe the scrutiny is like, well, are you doing this job or are you doing the other job? Because it seems like there's some problems with the job that you're doing. When we have people dying, when's the last time, all of a sudden, it's like Amtrak accident after Amtrak accident, the everyday lives of the non-monogamous. Are you monogamous? Do you believe in just having, you know, you in a relationship with one person at a time? They say that the person who did the photograph said that they wanted to normalize the fact that there are all kinds of people who do all kinds of things. And, you know, I guess I'm kind of liberal about stuff. I feel like if y'all are consenting adults, then do what you want to do. I don't care. You know, I feel like if y'all consenting, hey. And then my recommendation would be like, be honest and be who you are. Be fabulous you. If you want to have relationships, like I like to watch Seeking Sister Wives. I'm fascinated. Now, I don't think it's for me, but I'm fascinated. Like, I like the idea that people are like, well, this is what I want to do. Even though the whole society says that monogamy is the only way to go, I believe in having, you know, 2 wives and a husband. And I'm like, well, I like that. I like people who you know, are bold enough to be who they are. So that's what I got. I'm at the end. I look back around. That's the notes on the news for today. Thank you for watching, commenting, liking, subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything to come in here and watch the content, but I sure appreciate payment and like, comment, subscriptions. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So, you know, if you haven't already liked, go ahead and like. If you're watching on the playback, hey, Mr. Spencer Whitelow. If you're watching on the playback, please go ahead and like. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. We're working on 1,000 new subscribers or charter subscribers for channel Be Fabulous You. So that's what I got. I'm about to do Black Lightning. This looks like it's going to be a long review, but I got the first episode. I got all of my notes. And we about to come into that. So I'm going to be live with Black Lightning in a minute. I might have to go get a charger. But today is the best day ever. And if I don't see you again for the rest of the day or until the next time I see you, even if I see you again, I still want you to be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Hey, see you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you.